Last year, we had really strong participation from our club. The average gift last year from our club was $150. We hope everybody would do that again, but we're looking for a minimum of a $100 gift from 100% of our members, and then we'll be able to dole out these needed dollars to local nonprofits. So I encourage everyone to make their gift before the end of the year. We're going to be hopefully doing this discussion until our last meeting of the year. And if anybody has any questions, you can direct them to Amika Loggins. She is the co-chair of the committee, and she is also accepting your grant request. So if anybody in the club has a request for a nonprofit that is local and a 501c3 designated, that they would like to submit a one-page brief discussion of how the dollars would be used, that should go to Amika, and I think everybody has access to her email. So with that, join me and the entire rest of the Charitable Trust Committee. 100% of us are giving, and 100% of your board are giving, and we hope that you will help us get to that 100% from club membership by joining us in making a gift to the Charitable Trust. So thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Lowell wants me to remind everyone that when you're sending your check to the P.O. Box, make sure on the memo line that you indicate that it is for the Charitable Trust, or if you want to make sure the funds that you're donating go to the scholarships rather to the General Charitable Trust Committee, then make sure you indicate on the memo line that you want your donation to go to the Scholarship Charitable Trust. Okay, I want to just do a couple things a little bit differently than we have been doing virtually. As a board, we've been talking about trying to revive some of our previous traditions. So in that vein, I'm going to give a really quick history lesson to just kind of reset the idea of returning to normalcy. So I have two really brief blurbs on some things that happened in history on October 26th. So the Erie Canal is a 63-mile waterway that connects the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean via the Hudson River in upstate New York. The canal, which traverses New York State from Albany to Buffalo on Lake Erie, was considered an engineering marvel when it first opened on October 26, 1825. The Erie Canal provided a direct water route from New York City to the Midwest, triggering a large-scale commercial and agricultural development, as well as immigration to the sparsely populated frontiers of Western New York, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and points farther west. The canal transformed New York City into the young nation's economic powerhouse, and in 2000, the United States Congress designated the Erie Canal a National Heritage Corridor. For my second day in history blurb, the gunfight at the AOK Corral was a 30-second shootout between lawmen led by Virgil Earp and members of a loosely organized group of outlaws called the Cowboys, including Ike Clanton, that took place at about 3 p.m. on Wednesday, October 26, 1881, in Tombstone, Arizona, United States. It is generally regarded as the most famous shootout in history of the American Wild West. So those are your two brief history factoids. The board is also talking about finding a way to revive our attendance prize. So we're actively working on that and hope to have that rolling out next month. So that will encourage more people to come. And speaking of that, I just wanted to encourage you to, if you can, look around and see who's in the meeting today, and then think about who you used to sit with at your tables when we were able to meet and eat and enjoy each other's company in the River Room. And if there's someone who's you used to be able to share a meal with that doesn't appear in the list, think about reaching out to them and letting them know that you miss them and seeing their face and you'd like to see them virtually, and maybe sending them a note or a card. The board is trying to do that, but it'd be helpful for other members of the club if you would do that as well. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and turn the program over to our president-elect, Troy Lanier, who will introduce our speakers.
We have two speakers today, both from the Weir Stewart group over on Broad Street. Alex Weir is the founder and chief creative officer of Weir Stewart. He's a University of Georgia graduate. He graduated in '97 with an English degree. He serves on the board for Augusta Tomorrow and on the board for the Exchange Club of Augusta. And before he turned into a working man, Alex apparently liked to fish. He apparently still dabbles in mixology. And we also have with us Sean Mooney from Wier, Stewart. Sean was raised in Augusta. He is a graduate of Augusta Tech. He was involved in the leadership of Augusta class of 2019 and serves on the YMCA downtown board. And his hobbies include travel, woodworking, and outdoor activities. So we're very fortunate to have them with us. I think they want to speak on their We Give a Shirt campaign, which was wildly successful in raising funds to support local businesses during the outbreak of the pandemic, and we're glad to have them with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Sean, why don't you, so again, yeah, thanks for having us. We'll be mindful of your time today. And if you guys have any questions, just throw it up into the chat and we'll try to answer them as we go along, or unmute and talk to us. Either way is fine. So Weir Stewart is a creative firm downtown. We've been around about 15 years, and about what, five years ago, Sean?
Yep, about 5 years ago. Yep.
5 years ago, we started Show Pony. So, and that's Sean's realm is running Show Pony, which is our sister company, apparel and branded merch stuff.
Yeah, so down at our office, we actually have two buildings side by side that are now kind of merged as one. And we always affectionately joke that on the Weir Stewart side, everything digital is made, and on the Show Pony side, everything tangible is made. And so we kind of have a little bit of a little difference there to kind of help people understand the differences between the sister companies.
Right.
This program, the We Give a Shirt program, is actually a beautiful hybrid of both of the specialties. And really, we were very fortunate to be able to make this happen so quickly and put everything together and really help the community. Alex, you want to talk a little bit about why we decided to kind of launch this?
Yeah, and this ended up sort of being, like Sean said, just kind of a perfect project for the kind of mix of our two skill sets in those two different companies. But when everything started going down with COVID, it was locking down. I mean, personally, like my brother had just opened a restaurant, Noble Jones, he ran it for maybe 4 to 6 weeks before everything locked down. And we were just watching all this stuff locked down, and we wanted to do something that we could to try to help out people in the community. And the only thing that we were seeing were kind of people trying to create entities that, help out, like a central depository for funds, like donate here to help the waiters and the waitresses and the bartenders and the restaurant owners. And we wanted to try to do something to raise money for, our friends and everyone in the community that needed it, but could also happen in a quick enough time that it was meaningful to them, without a lot of bureaucracy or red tape around it.
And so many people at the time, to Alex's point, were creating these individual organizations to assist specific entities. We were really trying to figure out two main goals really from our end was, okay, one, first and foremost, how do we help those clients that we already have who are dealing through difficult times? A lot of restaurants, we're seeing people overwhelmingly support them by purchasing gift cards. But as we all know, that gift card eventually gets cashed in, and that becomes more difficult for you later on in the long run. So right. What we really were trying to do is create an additional revenue stream for these businesses. And so many people right now are very active on e-commerce, but it takes a lot of resources to get e-commerce up and running. And so we wanted to lend our abilities in e-commerce as well as our specialties in creating high quality merchandise and put it together to create a new revenue stream for these businesses that were affected.
Right. So what we did, and it sounded like a great idea at the time. It was still a great idea, but it ended up really getting a life of its own. Is we took, so for just the economics of it to work, you can't order less than 50 shirts as a minimum order. So they got to get to 50. So we were just hoping the first couple could sell 50. That makes $500 for them. And, you know, and it's a quick little cash infusion. And so in the first batch, we did Sports Center because we love, everybody knows the Sports Center, right? Downtown, best burger in town, maybe one of them for sure. But Sandy sold over 400, right? Didn't she sell like 404 or something like that?
403.
So that's $4,030 to those guys in the span of about 2 weeks from start to finish, which I think for her was, you know, and a lot of these people ended up being meaningful because how quickly we could deliver the funds. The backs, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the unique part of it, to truly understand the program, we were inviting companies who wanted to participate to apply online. And what we would do is Alex's design team would go in and create designs unique to the individual business. We didn't want to just put their logo on a shirt. We wanted to give them something different, something unique, and something that was truly limited edition. So you could only get it at that one point.
Right, and stuff that we thought would sell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so by pairing the design with the short time frame, for every shirt sold, they would receive 10 of the $20 sales price. And that was a great thing. Like Alex said, if you sell 403 shirts, you get a check for $4,030. The interesting part about it too is so many people were a little apprehensive at the beginning because it was such a good deal. They didn't really understand where the catch was. And truth be told, there just isn't a catch. We would literally allow people to sign up. We would sell the shirts. We print the shirts. And we actually manage the logistics and the shipping as well, which for us happened very fast. Learning curve was steep. Oh, I see Amy's got her Girl Scout shirt on. Look at that. There we go. I like that.
Nice.
So, you know, it was really fascinating for us to try and have to get that learning curve really, really quick. We did have to scale up. We brought in a lot of interns to facilitate the folding, the shipping, the packing, the labeling, all of it. And so it was a very unique process, but a lot of people benefited from that.
Yeah, and also when we got it up and we did it very fast, we got a tremendous backlog immediately of people just signing up. I mean, I want to say we had a list of almost 300 businesses at one point. How many did we get through?
We got through 256.
256?
Yeah.
That's 256 unique shirt designs for 256 different businesses. And what's great about it is because all the businesses is black, white, old, young, restaurants, bars, hair salons. We were just trying to do it for everybody we could. And when everybody started showing enthusiasm for it and we wanted to help all the people, we got our production up to 20 shirts a week, launching a new batch of 10 on Tuesday and a new batch on Friday. They would only stay on a week, right? And then they're out.
That's right. Yeah, it was only 7-day period for sales because one of the things we really wanted to do is, I know it sounds silly, but to really take advantage of the fact that people wanted to be supportive in this time. A lot of people wanted to, support, for instance, Amy supporting the Girl Scouts. She might have a personal connection to them and really wanted to support them and give them that fund during COVID. And to buy a shirt for $20 is a minimal impact on a consumer, but it makes a big difference to the people who are fundraising at the other end of that. And so, to Alex's point, we went through a lot of different businesses. We even went through schools. And the largest number of shirts we sold actually went to my alma mater at Aquinas High School. And they sold 668 shirts. And they were able to get new, I think, social studies books or something. They fulfilled their library, I believe, at one point, which was really cool. So, I think Alex and Daniel are Richmond Academy grads, and they got them involved in West Side Hopkins.
It was number one for a while, but what was cool is that these guys were approaching us and saying, we don't normally this year we would have, all the teachers kind of getting gifts at the end of the year, and they kind of depend on, getting little envelopes from money from their students or little, end of year gifts that you kind of always give your teachers, and that was going away. And so West Side and Richmond got in a battle to see who could sell the most, and they donated all the money to their I can't remember what they called it, you know,
Yeah, they're
teachers, the teacher slush fund or whatever, the teacher appreciation fund or something like that. So it was cool.
And to talk about this too, just so you guys get an understanding, you know, as Alex mentioned, we didn't really anticipate how quickly it would grow and how much support the community would give it. And through the entire process, we were up for about 4 months before we ended up ultimately suspending the program. We were up for about 4 months, and we sold over $500,000 in sales. And of that, of course, $250,000 went directly back to local agencies, businesses, organizations. And so to sell a $500,000 in t-shirts in 4 months to this area was really remarkable. And we're really happy to have been the vehicle by which people would support these organizations. But of course, you know, after saturating the market with $500,000 in t-shirts, we were starting to see a little bit of a wane. People were starting to kind of, instead of buying 5 shirts, they'd buy 2. And so we ultimately felt like it would be stronger for us to hold off on the program, suspend it for a little while, and bring it back a little bit later. So we continue to accept applications, and we do look forward to bringing it back. But it has kind of blended itself into kind of a unique, we now have the infrastructure and the logistics in place to help fundraise for other organizations as well. So it's living on, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how it
Amy bought 31, received 1 as a gift, and gave 6. Yeah, I had to stop because it was getting out of hand. You know, and there were a lot of favorites that would come around, and I'd get one, and Courtney would get one, and Hub would get one, and we'd get 4 of them at a time. It was starting to get a little rough. But I think it speaks to how awesome our community is that it went so big. You know, and I think it was important to the people that, you know, a lot of people that got some of these funds. You know, I think it mattered when they got them. So we appreciate any of y'all that participated in this thing.
Absolutely.
And we'll see what we do with it again. Like Sean was saying, it's a good mechanism for raising funds. And you know, we sort of figured out the supply part of it, which is kind of what kept that from happening forever until we figured it out under COVID in like 3 days, because we just, you know, wanted to make it happen for the community.
Yeah. I think our web developer would shoot us for telling you guys this, but yeah, we were able to make that e-commerce site happen way more quickly than anyone else in the world. I think it was
under constant repair too the whole time, and then, you know, adding things to it, trying to sort of optimize it the whole way, and then really just it was designers, people shipping. Ruined our office because we had to move in a zillion shelves and just cram thousands of shirts at a time into them. But it ended up being nights and weekends, big time for everybody. For the first 3 months especially, before we really got it under control.
And shameless plug, you know, I'm really happy with the family that I work with. Our family is very strong, very tight knit, and I think it speaks volumes to the caliber of people that we have there, that they're willing to give their nights and weekends, because, you know, we weren't making profit off of this.
No.
You know, we were really basically breaking even by the time we brought people in and had them help. And that's not what it was about. What it was about was supporting our community, and for every single person who was involved at Weir, Stewart, and Show Pony to really up their game, really without even having to be asked. That to me is one of the hallmarks of the entire program, is seeing people rally behind it without having to be asked to do so. And I think that is something that I will remember for a very long time.
Right. Should go through the wall of shirts.
Yeah,
just to give everybody an idea of how many of these things there were.
Let me see if I can share this real quick.
I mean, like that Girl Scouts one, I loved on it, but at the time I had to pass because I couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah, we did so many shirts. I'm trying to see if this is going to load up. Everything from, this was one of my favorites, the Abel Brown shirt here was just so great. They did a good one. There's the Aquinas one. Oh my God, we did so many. Augusta Canal, boy.
That was the cool one I didn't buy.
Yeah, yeah, I got one for you. No worries. I mean, literally everything from Augusta Orthopedics to a hemp company. A lot of businesses were involved.
And it was cool. Like, speaking of Augusta Orthopedics, those guys donated it all to Giving Kitchen, I think. So some people were getting shirts. We ended up doing this corporate kind of plan because we got contacted, I think, initially by John Cates at Maybaum. And he liked the program and he wanted to give. So it's another thing we had to figure out, how you could order by coupon where they could buy a shirt for, every employee they had at Maybaum that was, in quarantine, and they could all go and pick their own shirt and get it shipped to them for free.
Yeah, we called it corporate generosity.
Hilarious.
Because we like puns. Yeah, we're really funny people. But yeah, the corporate program was really good. Say it again.
I said that's a lot of shirts.
Yeah, we're just in the G's. Here's Amy's shirt. And really what's unique too is there's a very long sequence of things that take place. We have to contact the business has to reply back. We have to make sure that they're verified. Once they're verified, we had to send the artwork. They had to approve the artwork. Then the artwork had to be mocked up on actual models, but of course we didn't have the shirt, so we had to get designers to actually make it look like they were real. And then they'd go online, and then we'd monitor sales for 7 days. And once the sales were over, then you'd have to actually print the shirts. And once you print the shirt, you had to actually fold, pack, and ship the shirt. So, I mean, it was full turnkey from top to bottom. And for them, each of the businesses to receive the $10 per shirt, we were really proud that they were able to continue to do that. So, all in all, there's one of my favorites, RecTech. That one was really good. All in all, I think it was pretty exciting to be a part of. But I think we should open it up for questions because I think we're probably getting close to our overage there. I'm not sure, but if anybody has questions and wants to ask, we're happy to take some. I can't see the chat anymore if they're putting it in chat.
If anyone has a question, feel free to unmute your mic and just ask it.
Well, hey, it's Amy, and I don't have questions because I'm like, I don't know, an auxiliary part of the team at this point because you mailed so many shirts to my house. But I just want to say I think it's great. We sent some of those gifts out of state. Like, my father-in-law wore his Lanier shirt to go vote in North Carolina last week after I'd worn mine to early vote the week before and put a picture on Facebook, and I found that hilarious. But it's just great stuff. It was great all around. I'm so grateful that y'all did it. I'm so grateful for all the creativity. I mean, we seriously would sit around on Friday night, waiting to see what was going to drop so we could strategize what would be in this order, I mean, it gave me something to do during this lockdown, which was magnificent for the community. So we're just eternally grateful. And whenever you bring it back, be sure and give us enough notice because I miss Nacho Mamas and I would have bought that in a heartbeat, but I didn't even know what was going on yet. So
yeah, a lot of people missed like round 1 and 2 before it caught on fire, and it had some good. It was like Nacho Mamas and Sports Center and some classics. Yeah,
I know you have to have the 50 to make it worth printing, but if you ever decide to bring any back, you'd have some people scraping up some of those early ones. I promise.
Yeah.
Angela asks, what was the most important thing you and your staff learned during the process? I lost it. There he goes. Yes, during the process. I think, Angela, I think one of the things that we learned at the Show Pony side for sure, and I know for sure on Weir Stewart side, they definitely already had this, but is really streamlining efficiencies. When you're dealing with hundreds of orders on a daily basis, I mean, literally we were shipping out hundreds of packages in a day. Every second counts, and you really have to make sure that you're being smart about the decisions you make. In Show Pony world, we actually did not shut down. We didn't really shift any resources. Well, we still had our regular business to maintain. Yeah, we did see a little bit of a lull in some of the business, and so to have the We Give a Shirt was helpful, but we were still having to do our daily business as well. And so being extremely efficient was key. What I think I learned most out of that, though, was that you can learn efficiencies from the smallest player in the team. Everything from, we have a lady who comes and cleans the offices once a week, and she was telling us, if you just fold these boxes flat and put them in this little corner, we'll take them to the dumpster, no problem. I mean, like, that is precious time that you got to appreciate. And it comes from even those who are on the outskirts. And so for me, the biggest lesson I learned was really being open to improvements from any player in the game.
Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah, just efficiency. Like, just from the design side, with a lot of people depending, because like Sean said, we still had our regular business to maintain, but we had set that goal at 20 shirts a week because we were trying to get through them, because we were trying to get as many people as we could help. So, when you go in and you look at the list and you pick your two, you got hours to get them done, or you're going to fail. So it was really an interesting exercise from the creative standpoint, because you're like, what do we make the thing for the Girl Scouts look like? And you better figure it out like pronto, because you can't spend all day doing it. There's just too much coming.
Yeah. Jeff Aslan asks, how is your business doing during this pandemic, and what are some exciting projects Weir, Stewart, and Show Pony are working on? Go ahead, Alex.
Ours is pretty good. I mean, we got the PPP stuff, which was good. But it, when everything shut down, it contracted for a second. But we saw it really starting to come back, June, maybe something like that. Where to now it's pretty good. And then our just attitude towards during the whole time was like, we're going to do whatever we have to do for the clients that we have, regardless of whether or not they have the money for it right now or anything. But if they've got, issues, we're going to do whatever we can to support them. So,
and on the show,
we actually created a lot more work for ourselves during the shutdown with We Give a Shirt, and then just kind of, doing whatever it took to get things done for, those other people.
And on the Show Pony side, Jeff, we are strong believers in kind of karma, like put good into the world and good will come back to you. And fortunately for Show Pony, that has happened. We were really setting out on a goal just to help others. But now all those people that were positively impacted have not forgotten it and have been so gracious to return the favor to us. And so a lot of the people who have benefited from the program have reached out to see how they can benefit our business, which to me was very, very warming and truly kind of humbling that people would do that. It was not our goal to do that. It was our goal to help, but to see people reciprocate in that way was really, really welcoming and very appreciated.
Yeah, and I think that it really Show Pony and Weir Stewart are different businesses. We kind of used to do merchandising within Weir Stewart, but it's just the process is so incredibly different that it doesn't make any sense. But through this exercise, we kind of learned how to make those two businesses work very well together.
Efficiencies.
Efficiencies.
Yeah.
And Troy, I don't know, we're thinking about how we may bring it back and kind of under what circumstances we would bring it back. But I think basically, rather than an entire onslaught of a zillion shirts all the time, it's most likely probably going to be like a one-off fundraiser for people. So if they want to, if a high school or a charity or, the Miracle Mile Walk or anybody like that wants to do it.
We have been testing those small pilot programs where it's just single batches, where we don't necessarily put the flag out there. Arsenal Soccer Club was just someone that we knew really closely that in the past has
Yeah.
done your drives, and we took it all online for them. And that was rather successful. They sold over.
Yeah, it was great. We let them stay up like 2 weeks, and I think they raised like 30, close to $3,500 or something. And there's a lot of little programs out there like that can really, really, like that's a meaningful amount of money to Arsenal, because they can buy equipment, uniforms, all like pay their coaches, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Anybody else with any questions? Well, thank you guys so much for having us. We really appreciate being part of this, and for everybody to involve themselves in it and ask the questions. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean and Alex. We really appreciate it. And I will say I have one of the best-selling Aquinas t-shirts in my house. So for our members, I want to remind you that our next meeting is going to be November 16th. We are not meeting on the 9th. Normally we meet every other week, but because the 9th will include the rescheduled Masters Week, we figured many of you would rather be tuning into that for your lunch break than to a Kiwanis Club meeting. So we'll be meeting on the 16th. Our speaker then will be a representative from the 98th Air Force Museum, and that will be our Veterans Day program. I announced at the last meeting that I would not be continuing the dad joke tradition, and some people have pushed back on that, which makes me think maybe I need to work on my comic abilities. But instead, I'm going to go with a quote of the week and then a challenge. So in keeping with the theme of our presentation today, the quote is from Anne Frank, and it says, "No one has ever become poor from giving." And then, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, I wanted you to kind of look around and see who's not here that you've missed seeing and reach out to them. And that leads me to one final quote. "If you have the power to make someone happy, do it. The world needs more of that." I think that's accurate for everything we're facing today. So again, encourage you to reach out to some of our Kiwanis friends that you haven't seen for a while. Thank you again, Alex and Sean, and thank you for the program and for contributing to our community. Stay safe and be well, and we will see you guys on the 16th.